He's been clowned. Hey, he's been clowned.
Too much shit going on in the world.
He's been clowned.
They cloning people.
Hey, he's
North
been
Korea
clowned.
about to blow us off the map.
He's been clowned.
Russia sneaking over here and shit.
He's been clowned.
Too much shit going on in the world.
He's been clowned.
They cloning people.
He's been clowned.
North Korea about to blow us off the map.
He's been clowned.
Black people still ain't equal.
He's been clowned.
They having Klan rallies, neo-Nazis, everywhere you look.
He's been clowned.
But if you mention the word white people, they'll knock you off of Facebook.
He's been clowned.
The world ain't equal no more.
He's been clowned.
You can't go to the motherfucking military. They've been cloning people. Man, this shit getting scary.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love that dude.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever. And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh, my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa?
Do you still stay in contact with Martin?
You know what? It's funny. I wasn't really in contact with Martin when we were doing the show. He's a different person off stage than he, is on stage. And that's true of all of us. You know, you see a personality on stage and we feel like we know people after we watch them in sitcoms and we see them so much in the public eye. But, people are different off stage.
Yeah. And it's not quite the same Martin anymore. Like if you watch Bad Boys 2, he's kind of off a step.
I think after he had those strokes.
I think that's what happened.
Because even in working with him, I worked with him for 4 years on that show, Martin Lawrence Presents for him. He wasn't in my humble opinion, he wasn't the same person, Yeah. And I kind of chalked it up to, maybe it's just because he has a different business persona.
If you watch Bad Boys 2, he's a little bit slower in terms of his delivery. Not a lot, but just compare that to...
He's definitely a different Martin.
It's definitely a different Martin. It hurt to watch that movie. I was just like, oh man.
Yes, sir. Now, today, we're going to be talking about Martin Lawrence. Now, I know that y'all heard those clips previously. And I don't even feel that using pictures, we don't even have to use pictures, right? Y'all can look up the difference with Martin Lawrence, how he looked. Y'all can easily Google that and see the difference. But today, we gonna talk about the details and the facts. We gonna point out the inconsistencies in the stories that surround Martin Lawrence. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I was able to actually find the article from Los Angeles Times that speaks on Martin Lawrence running in the street the same way Dave Chappelle recalls it. So it actually, according to the news, and it's safe to say that this did happen. That Martin Lawrence did in fact run into the street with a gun, yelling, "They're trying to kill me." Right now it says, with a pistol in his pocket, comedian Martin Lawrence ran into traffic on busy Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks on Tuesday, cursing and screaming at oncoming cars until he was taken away by police and hospitalized. Authorities and witnesses say. Now, Lawrence, star of the television sitcom Martin in the films Bad Boys and A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, was found in the middle of Ventura Boulevard at Tyrone Avenue at about 12:30 p.m., says Sergeant Burt Mora of the Los Angeles Police Department. Now, if we look deeper into the situation, right, it says that a witness who declined to be identified, but who said he was an acquaintance handler of Lawrence, said the actor was cursing, waving his hands, and yelling, "Fight the establishment." He said Lawrence ran out of the street when police arrived and tried to fight them off when they attempted to restrain him. Police said Lawrence may have had a seizure because he failed to take a prescribed medication. But a statement from Lawrence's publicist, Kim Jones, offered another explanation. So they was just running off at first saying that he wasn't taking his medicine. He wasn't taking his meds. You see, they always got to go with that narrative, right? But his publicist says, a doctor has found Mr. Lawrence to be suffering from a case of complete exhaustion and dehydration. So that was their excuse for this happening, that he was just exhausted and dehydrated. He just needed some sleep and some water. That's why they said that he ran out of the street with a gun, because he just needed some water. But come on, right? We not finished yet, right? Because if we even break down these times of these occurrences and the day that these things happen on, everything is for a reason. So now we see that at around 12:30 p.m., this incident occurred, when we know that conspiracy equals 123. And that's exactly what's on our hands right now, is a conspiracy. Now, the fact that this happened on, well, the article about this comes out on May 8th, but the actual incident happened on a Tuesday, which brings us to May 7th. In other words, 5/7, when conspiracy equals 57 in Gematria. When actor, you know who the conspiracy involves in, the actor Martin Lawrence, the actor / comedian. And with the word actor, we get 57 as well in the ordinal cipher. Now, if you don't understand what you're looking at, this is the practice of Gematria, simply turning letters into their numerical value. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, so on and so forth. And when you learn the patterns that are being utilized in the mainstream media, you can see right through everything that they're telling you. And with just a little bit of common sense as well. But come on. Right? Because even when we flip that, right, the 7th of May, how it's written in majority other countries, right, we write it 7/5, just like Martin, his first name, Martin, equals 75. This is also equivalent to Martin Luther King, who was pronounced dead at 7:05 p.m. when once again, Martin, that first name, equals 75. Taking those letters as you see it, right? A being the first letter, right? M being the 13th, so on and just like that. And that's how these things are being done right in front of our faces. But come on. Right? Because even when we take Martin, the first name, in this situation, at the time that he ran out the street with the gun in his hand, right? He happened to be 30 years old when Martin equals 30, right? But the thing about that is, that was actually a lie. Because if we take his birthday due to the publications, how the publications list his birthday, he was actually 31 years old at the time that this happened. But as we know, everything they do is by the numbers. And in 1996, right, who's really going fact checking? And I'm not even sure if it was a way to fact check these type of things at the time. You see what I'm saying? How to find out how old he really was. I was born in 96, so I don't know what type of technology, phones, computers, I don't really, you feel me? Somebody from that time had to tell me how technology was at the time. Yeah, I sound like a real young blood, but let me still put you up on game though. Let me still teach you something though. Cause look, right? Because now let's fast forward, because we doing these things in chronological order. So now, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Martin Lawrence was actually in critical condition after suffering a heat stroke about 3 years later from this incident where he was waving the gun saying they were trying to kill me. So now let's pay close, very close attention to the dates. I need you to pay close attention to the dates. This is very important. So the day that CNN decided to break the news on Martin Lawrence being in critical condition for suffering a stroke was August 25th, 1999. Now, this was on a Wednesday. Now, if we read into the article, they say that he's reported in very critical condition after collapsing on Sunday. So he collapsed on Sunday. They don't say anything until Wednesday, right? Now, if we take this same day, this is very interesting because the same day, Wednesday, August 25th, CBS is already reporting that Martin Lawrence is already out of the coma. August 25th, look at the time, 7:26 p.m. When over here at 8:40 p.m., they're just now breaking the news that he suffered the stroke that he done already recovered from. So these are the questions that we have to start asking, is why didn't they break the news on Sunday when it happened? Because usually, you know, that's how breaking news works. It happens, you know, they tell you, you know, right when it happens. And we'll have an update, you know, as soon as we can get an update. Then they come out with new things, new information. But no, they didn't hit you with this story until it was already done with. Because if we look, right, it says awakened from a 3-day coma. So this brings us back to Sunday, right? Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday. That's when you see what I'm saying? That's 3 days. He woke up on the 4th day. And that's when they made the article. When this whole situation was already done already. Why did they do it like that? And then they even say actor Martin Lawrence was in serious but stable condition Friday. Where we get Friday from? We only on Wednesday. It's August 25th. August 25th is a Wednesday. He collapsed on Sunday. Where the hell Friday come from? We ain't even there yet. We in the middle of the week. Where we get Friday from? But see, these are the things that they bring out to you, and at the time that these things are published, I mean, who's gonna go behind and fact check this? It was probably no way to even fact check these things back then. Or it might be. I might be underestimating technology at the time of 99. We was finna go into 2000, the year 2000. Motherfuckers thought the world was finna end and all type of things. But yeah. Right? Because once again, Sunday was the day that he collapsed from having a stroke, which was August 22nd. So where does Friday, August 27th? Friday was August 27th when this article was written on the 25th. So it's like these details in his story are not adding up at all. They're not adding up at all, right? But even if we do take the day that he did collapse on Sunday, that would be crazy because the day that he collapsed was the 22nd of August. In other words, 22/8, just like death equals 228. In the English Sumerian cipher, the English language multiplied by 6. So with that being said, with that information, knowing that, diving deeper into the situation, Martin was 34 years old at the time that he went jogging when he had a stroke, when murder equals 34. And they actually used the right age, as it was the same age as the last time. So the first time they purposely obscure his age, but this time they got it right because the numbers lined up. So they had no problem with giving you the truth this time. So he actually was 34 with the same date being utilized. April 16, 1965, run the video back. 34. When he suffered a heat stroke, when heat equals 34 as well, when he was 34 at the time. So what's really going on? Doug Williams and Vlad TV just sat there and said that he hasn't been the same since these strokes. But come on, we're not done yet, right? He also had these strokes exactly 34 weeks before his next upcoming birthday. Exactly 34 weeks, just like murder. Now it's interesting that he had these strokes in his 34th year of age, when murder equals 34 weeks before his next upcoming birthday. But also, this happened in Thousand Oaks, when Thousand Oaks is located on the 34th parallel. So it's looking like some murder by numbers to me, right? But come on. Even the date numerology that he was jogging on, the day that he collapsed, August 22nd, 8 plus 22, we get 30 date numerology. Just like, once again, Martin, the N-word, slavery, and even jogging as well equals 30 and 42. Just like how he's been mocked his whole career with that number, the number 42. And that's even how they got him up out jogging. That's what he was last doing, jogging, which also equals 42. But we know in the Martin show, Martin, he lived in the apartment 42. We know these things already. We just circling back. We just going around and showing you how they've been doing this his whole career. Even Tommy Ford, who played Tommy in the show, equal 42. He even played the character Tommy Strong, which equals 181, which is the 42nd prime number. Not to mention the character Shanae that Martin played as well, that equal 42. Not to mention that the show's location was in the city of Detroit, which is located on the 42nd parallel, when we know the N-word equal 42. So they continued this whole time. This mockery was being continued. Even the day that he had a stroke, August 22nd, 1999, equals 148, just like the N-word. 148. Now Martin had a stroke, right, 18 weeks and 2 days after his birthday in California, when California equals 182 in reverse. So now, since we got, right, most of the numbers out the way, let's start touching on some of these inconsistencies some more, because there's some more inconsistencies in these stories of him having his stroke. So pay attention to the date once again, August 25th, 1999. Now, they say the reason behind Martin jogging in the first place in this summer heat, while wearing multiple layers of clothing, was because he was trying to lose weight for an upcoming movie role. You know, when they didn't tell you what the movie role was, when we know that he's an actor. I mean, come on, this is perfect publicity. Like, why not market the movie that's coming out? Don't they always do these things? Cause celebrities and rappers, don't they always like stage things to like promote their albums and promote their projects? Why not take this perfect opportunity to promote his upcoming movie role? But they don't mention his upcoming movie role at all. They don't mention what the movie role was. Now, Blue Streak was the movie that came out right after his strokes. So it was released after his strokes, meaning that it was recorded before his strokes. Now, mind you, he was on Blue Streak with comedian Dave Chappelle. And Dave Chappelle was the one that spoke on Martin's behalf, saying that what would make a man go outside go out there and wave a gun and say they're trying to kill me. And what do you know? These two individuals are having the most talks of them being cloned in Hollywood. And those was the two that collaborated on Martin's last project, I believe. I believe this was Martin's last project. But let's focus on the reason though, right? Because this is the most blasphemous reason, right? They said he was trying to lose weight for an upcoming movie role. So we know it wasn't Blue Streak. Now, the next movie role after Blue Streak was Big Mama. What do you know? So he was trying to lose weight to play Big Mama when he wearing a fat suit? Come on now. Come on, man. Pay attention to the things that they're telling you. This makes no sense. Why would he be needed to lose weight when he's going to be putting on a fat suit? But these are the things that they're telling you. This is why they didn't mention the movie role in the headlines, in the article. Because then motherfuckers would have knew. Apparently he was trying to lose weight for Big Mama. Why would they put that in there? That would make no sense, right? Now it's making sense, right? But come on. Now let's get to the next inconsistency. It said he was found by his girlfriend on the front steps of his home. He was found by his girlfriend on the front steps of his home. Martin was jogging when he collapsed. So he was jogging. So that means he had to leave his house, right? So basically they're saying that he went for this jog and he just so happened to, as soon as he was getting his key, getting ready to grab his key out his pocket and get ready to go back in the house, that's when he collapsed right in front of his house on the front step. Not in a random on a sidewalk somewhere, you know, because he was jogging. So they didn't find him collapsed on like a sidewalk somewhere or, you know, like in the street. But no, they found him, you know, right when he happened to enter back into his house. But not only this, right? His girlfriend found him collapsed. CBS says the same thing. His girlfriend found him collapsed on the doorstep. But Los Angeles Times has another recollection of this instance. They say a family member became concerned when Lawrence did not return and they went to look for him. Lawrence was found on his lawn, slumped over, moaning and having difficulty breathing. So they say a family member became concerned when Lawrence didn't return. But apparently, due to Los Angeles Times, you know, the same as that publication, the same as that article, they say he was only on a run for an hour. So if he was on a run for an hour, why would that concern this family member so much where they feel like they have to go look for him when he was only on an hour run? And then the family member goes to look for him and he's right outside on the lawn. This makes no sense. But come on. Right? Now, the one thing that was very consistent, I have to give them the credit for this one. This wasn't an inconsistency. This was very consistent. Now, the one thing that was very consistent was Martin's temperature, his body temperature. Now, every article, every publication lists his body temperature as 107 degrees. Lawrence's, this one even says Lawrence's temperature had risen to more than 107 degrees. So if you knew that it was more than, why put this specific number and then still say more than? You should have just said more than 100 degrees, right? But they want to give you this specific number, so they're pointing out to you that it's something about that specific number. 107. And then see, this other one says about 107 degrees. That's an estimate when you say about. So about would have been about 100 degrees, about 100 and close to 110 degrees. You see what I'm saying? About is an estimation, but they still gave you an exact number. It's a reason behind that. It's also interesting that he collapsed. He had this stroke where he had a 107 degree temperature. This also happened 3 years and 107 days from the day that he was in the street waving the gun saying they were trying to kill me. May 8th is the day this article was published. May 7th was the actual day that he was in the street, right? So we get that 107 again, right? Martin Lawrence's birthday that next year after he had the stroke, the year 2000, right, which was a leap year. Martin's birthday would have been on the 107th day of the year. So we keep on getting this specific 107 when we know that ritual sacrifice also equals 107. Man, I believe that man was replaced when he had them strokes. I believe he was letting folks know that they was after him when he was in the street, and they took him out when he had them strokes, man. That was when it was finished. And Vlad the Mason himself even then said, man, new and improved. He using words like the new and improved. Have you seen the new and improved, Martin?
Yeah, and it's not quite the same Martin anymore. He gained a few pounds too recently. Have you seen the new and improved?
That's Martin?
That's Martin.
They speaking in code, man. They letting you know, man. But come on. Right? Because if we take the span from the day that Martin was in the street waving the gun to the day that he suffered a heat stroke, that was a span of exactly 1,202 days. Just like heat stroke equals 122. You know, removing that zero since it has no value, you get that 122. So this was planned, bro. This was strategic. This was strategic. This was strategic down to the T. And I believe, man, they took that man up out of here, man. I believe so, man. Come on. Right? Here's another inconsistency. Now, they said Lawrence was trying to lose weight for a movie role when he went for a jog near his West Village home in 100-degree weather. So they're creating the narrative that it was so hot. And that was the reason why he passed out, because he was wearing a lot of clothes, because he was trying to drop weight for this unknown movie role, right? When he's an actor and it's a perfect time to promote his new movie, right? But I digress, right? Westlake Village, 100 degrees. Okay, so let's do something that people couldn't have done at the time, right? Let's you know, since technology has advanced so much, you know, it's a gift and a curse. So now, let's actually go back and look at the temperature at the time that he so-called passed out because it was so hot, right? So in the records of Westlake Village, on August 22nd, 1999, the weather was actually in the 70s that day. It was nowhere near 100. If you look at where it says near the chart, it says it was comfortable that day. It was comfortable. It was comfortable. So where is they getting this 100 degrees from? Where is they getting this from? Why are they doing all this lying if there's not something deeper to the surface? This is what I want to ask. This is what I want you to ask yourself. If this situation happened exactly how they say, why lie? Why do you have to lie? Why you can't just tell the truth? Why do you have to do this? Why do I have to go behind you and do these things if you're not lying? But see, they don't expect you to go behind them. So they just say anything. They just say anything. Because they don't expect you to go behind it. They just say anything. But come on. Right? They even give you the number for dishonesty. They say Martin Lawrence left his home to go for the jog at 11:30. They was already giving you a clue. But, you know, who knew these things, you know, way back then? Who knew they were using Gematria? Who knew they were using numbers and things like that in 1999? Probably somebody knew it, but guess what? They called him crazy, right? But here we are. We see the same numbers, the same stuff we see today. When they just know exactly what time he left, right? Because keep in mind, he was in a coma, right? So he didn't even know how to talk. He had to learn how to walk again. So obviously he didn't remember what time he left. So who knew what time he left his home? You have to pay attention to what they're telling you. Really put on your thinking cap. Shout out to Steve from Blues Clues, man. He said, man, he the one that said, man, put on your thinking cap, man. Sit in your thinking chair sometimes. And just put on your damn thinking cap sometimes. Man, come on, man. Man, 113, man, just like the number for dishonesty, man, just like all these other words, man. When you take it in the English language, man, you get the number 113, man. This is no coincidence, bro. This is no coincidence. But with that being said, man, I can conclude, in my humble opinion, that Martin Lawrence was in fact cloned that day, man. That he was cloned, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I appreciate y'all for all the love. Appreciate y'all for all the support. And I'm out.